Welcome to The Word with Wiggy. On today's episode, we'll dive into Matthew chapter 1, which includes the genealogy and nativity of Christ. Hold on, guys. I note, I have to apologize in advance for telling the story of Jacob, Esau, and their parents slightly incorrectly during the breakdown of the genealogy, but you'll get the gist of it. Also, Genesis 25 for the accurate account. We hope you enjoy the show, and let's get started. Welcome to The Word with Wiggy. I am your host, Wiggy, aka Miss Wiggins, and I am here with Mo Praise, Mo
Hi.
Tithing.
We do need to pass around an offering plate at some point.
I'm telling you, if y'all want to, y'all could always, maybe we put a little cash app at the bottom, if they want to support the ministry.
For real.
So how are we doing this week? What has happened?
I'm good. I had a really good week. Well, kind of. We actually returned to work for the first time in COVID was 2020. It was 2020. So yeah, for the first time in 5 years, we returned to work fully.
Playing games. I think my dad had to go too. Only like one day they could stay home.
Yeah, it's no days home. So that's been crazy. Traffic has been crazy. Parking lot is crazy. Like my job has 7 or 8 different buildings and people are having to park all at the wrong building and the coffee shops are overwhelmed because your building used to be empty and now there's 600 people trying to get coffee. Yeah.
It'll finally wake up.
It's crazy. Yeah. And then the teams I support are across the street. So every time we do something, we have to like lug all of our stuff across the street, like walk. Like, I don't know what everybody else wears to work, but imagine like wearing your work clothes, whether you're wearing a dress and like wedges or something. But now in order to do your job, you have to walk across the street. It just changes everything. It changes everything.
Be in tennis shoes. I know that at work, at least for that walk.
What are you going to do? Like carry tennis shoes, keep them at your desk, I guess? I don't know.
Well, I don't really wear any type of heel or anything to work, so I don't think I'd be okay. I wear comfortable shoes to work. I'm always on the hunt.
You're traveling to visit customers. You wear flats? You do?
Yeah, I'd be wearing like some of my shoes are in their masculine energy because in my field, they respect masculine energy. So I have like a chunky, like almost like loafer type shoe. I have a lot of loafer type shoes.
Cole Haans.
Yeah. Or if I'm going to a job site,
super cute ones.
If I'm going to a job site or something, I might have on boots because it's muddy. Okay. It's nails everywhere. I caught a nail in my tire. Did I say that last week?
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah, I caught a nail in my tire at a job site. That's my life. Yeah, but other than that, I've had a pretty good last week. I went to the rodeo 2 days in a row, and I don't know if I suggest that. It was really fun, but I was exhausted. I took Omari Thursday. They had a sensory day. He had a blast. He did. He lasted about 3 hours. I think it was pretty good. It was like by the time we started eating, he wanted his phone. He was like, phone, like, what you got me out here doing, And then the next day it was Black Heritage Day, and then I wasn't supposed to originally go, but my friend and her husband was supposed to go, but then her husband ended up not being able to go, so I was able to go. But that's a lot of walking. I've never been. I don't think I've ever been to the rodeo. Oh, have you ever been to the state fair? In college, we used to go to the state fair. Yeah. Okay, so imagine that, but a little different. But like all the walking, like you're walking for miles. Like, and the day before I did it in tennis shoes, which you would have thought was like the smart thing to do. My feet were still hurting. So then the next day I had on cowboy boots. So by Saturday, my feet were screaming. Yeah. I'm like, if I'm already hurting, cowboy boots is not the way I'm going. Yeah, but it was all about the outfit at that point. Like Friday was the adult time, So it was worth the sacrifice. Yeah. The pictures came out great. The Thursday was the mommy time and Friday was the grown up time. That's so funny though, because like Jordan 1s are the shoes that I choose to live most of my life in, but I always regret it. They make your feet hurt so bad. So I probably the Jordan 1s. Is that the little flat ones? Which ones are the ones? Well, they do have some lows. Right. I don't always know the Jordan numbers. I don't know if that takes away my play. But they don't have any cushion. So like, I always choose them when we do functions like that too, because it's cute and it'll match the outfit with the kids. It's, whatever. But yeah, it's always a bad decision. But I would have needed to look cute the next day. So I hear you. Yeah, I mean, it was all about the outfit. I didn't put those boots on until we got out of the car. Like, I was like, we have to save every moment. I think I had Advil in my bag. I never took the Advil, but I should have. Actually, I should have taken a good 800 milligrams. But yeah, that's all that pretty much happened for me this week. It just was a busy week. Finally took my braids out. That took a long time. And now I have to do my hair today, which is gonna take probably takes like 4 hours to twist my hair. So I have a long day. And I have a dentist appointment today. I just have a long day.
You do. You have a lot going on.
Yeah, and it seems like it doesn't stop. But besides that, let's go ahead and get into what we are reading this week. Last week, I did tell you guys that we are going to do Matthew 1 and 2, scratch 2. We're just going to do 1 because every time I start to get to doing my research and writing out the episodes, I find out more information. So I thought, let's just keep it to 1. Okay, so Matthew 1 covers the genealogy of Christ, and not the birth of Christ, the nativity of Christ, right? What is it called? Basically, like when we find out that Mary's pregnant. Anyway,
so he's not born in chapter 1?
Oh, maybe he was. Was he? I don't know. Maybe at the end, but all my notes basically stop at like what they named him and stuff.
Yeah, it does stop. Jesus is born chapter 2, verse 1. Okay, so just pregnant and we know his name.
Yes, but there is some background into that. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so
before we get into it, can we talk about how difficult it is to make it through a chapter of Begats?
Because who are all these people?
It's the most boring part of the Bible. Every time I see one, because it's also in I think Exodus, I'm just like, y'all could have just drawn a picture. Draw us a picture. I mean, the extended one, some of them are just so long. It's pages and pages of Begats. And I'm like, I'm not going to remember this. I'm not going to know how to put these people together. Somebody should have made a picture for us.
Yeah.
It's all it's the most stressful part of the Bible. Every year when I'm like, oh, I'm going to read the Bible this year, I'll start and then I'll get to those Begats and the whole, the whole year.
You're like, no, thank you. I think there's a long list too. And if you ever read First and Second Kings and stuff, they just be going through. You're like, okay, now, did we have to, but they recorded everything. And those were, but the genealogy, it really is important though. Even though we want to skip it, we shouldn't skip it. Because there's so many good nuggets in there.
There are good nuggets. They're in there for a reason. But here's the thing. I would have never caught them if we weren't doing this. If I wasn't specifically studying the Bible and looking up who these people are, I wouldn't have caught wow, this was in his lineage. A lot of imperfection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You expect nothing but greatness the whole way from Abraham on down, but it's definitely
if you're being honest, in the Bible, it shouldn't come as a shock in the genealogy of Christ that these are full of nonsense, crazy people, because you just read the Bible, everybody is flawed, quite literally. Right. Even Abraham was lying a little bit sometimes, and God was like, I ain't tell you lie about that, stuff nobody's perfect. Abraham, he had a lot of faith, but he still did some stuff that he wasn't supposed to. We're going to go through it right now, actually. Yeah, let's just get into it. I will say the genealogy is broken into 3 segments. So you have Abraham to David, then you have David to the Babylonian exile, and you have exile to Christ. I won't bore you guys with the Babylonian exile, but like I said, there was always going to be imperfection in Jesus' lineage, because if you read the Old Testament, the Israelites consistently are messing up, hence the Babylonian exile. Well, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, one day. So why would Matthew include the genealogy in the beginning? Matthew includes the genealogy to demonstrate that Jesus had a legitimate claim to be the Messiah, the son of David, and heir to the throne, because they were looking for the right person to become it. And, the rabbis and the Jewish people, they studied a lot. So they were really looking for certain signs that he was the Messiah. So this would be why. So I started off, actually, did you want to add on to that? I wanted to start off because I saw a reference when I read this, why it was included, and it goes back to the Old Testament in 2 Samuel 7:12 through 16. And I want to read it real quick, because this is when the Lord God, our God, makes a covenant with King David about, and I'm just going to read it to you so you can understand. And it's about Jesus. This is God talking. When your time comes and you rest with your fathers, I will raise up after you your descendant, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he will be my son. Now, this is the part where I was like, huh? It said, when he does wrong, I will discipline him with a rod of men and blows from mortals. Now, I don't think Jesus ever did anything wrong, but I'm guessing when he took on our sin, that's that, because he did get beaten by mortals. But my faithful love will never leave him, as it did when I removed it from Saul, whom I removed from before you. Your house and kingdom will endure forever before me forever, and your throne will be established forever. That, from what I read, that is talking directly about Jesus. God telling David, hey, from you, my son is coming through you. Yes. And another fun fact, Jesus' genealogy is only preserved in the Gospels because the Romans destroyed all of the Jewish, what's the word I'm looking for? Their records, their genealogical records. It burns out the temple. Yeah, well, I knew that the temple was burned down at some point because the Christians were getting like persecuted, killed. There was a lot going on after Jesus died, and they burned that temple to the ground. It's been destroyed a few times, actually. Yeah, it was destroyed in the Old Testament too. Yeah, real bad.
All right, we're all gonna get to where Wiggy is and her Bible knowledge though, because I'm like, oh, okay.
Look, I never look. Let me tell you guys, it's only I know a lot about certain things. I don't know a lot about a lot of things. The Bible, I'm no expert. You know, there's people who I look up to that are experts. Like I won't name them, but they are experts. I want to be like them when I grow up. So I'm just on my way. But this is like my special interest, so I just get really into it.
So let's get into the actual genealogy.
Yeah, so the first genealogy is going to be from Abraham to David. As we said, the genealogy does not shy away from including these are perfect people. Already noted on Abraham. I feel like Isaac was pretty chill. He didn't do much. But Jacob, let's get to Jacob. He's the person who followed the 12 tribes. He was a liar and a deceiver. If everybody probably knows the Bible story of Jacob and Esau when he stole the birthright and the stew. You remember that? Kids. We learned that when we were kids.
I feel like I heard it when I was a kid, but it's not one that's repeated all the time.
True that, but then when you think about it when you're an adult, you're like, he really messed his brother over. He stole his whole birthright. He lied. He fooled his dad because his dad was like,
give a synopsis of the story.
The story, okay, basically, Jacob and Esau are twins, Isaac's sons, and Jacob is the second born. And so Esau is like this hairy dude, and he like works in the field, and he's really Isaac's favorite son. But his wife, what was his wife's name? I'm drawing a blank. But his wife, her favorite son was Jacob, right? And she also was a liar. They basically plotted on Isaac, who was old and blind, who could not see. So she made him these clothes that were like hairy. He put them on his arms while Esau was in the fields. And she had Jacob bring Isaac his favorite soup. And for some reason, it was like when you gave him the soup, it was like, give me the birthright, basically. Or basically it was like, I won't give you the soup until you give me the birthright. And Isaac was like, whatever. He thought it was Esau or something. It was basically like they tricked him. They tricked him into thinking he was giving the birthright to his son. And it wasn't. And then later, Isaac actually figured it out and he was all like sad. But apparently, once you give it to him, it's over and it's done. Yeah, so then Jacob actually had to leave home. He had to run away because Esau was going to kill him. Yeah, it's really dramatic. Genesis got a lot of drama in it. Y'all should really read that. But that's basically the synopsis is he lied. He stole a birthright that was not his. But all the 12 tribes of Israel come from Jacob, the deceiver. He was also very hard-headed. In Genesis, he wrestles with God. He literally wrestles with him because he's so hard-headed. And God has to hit him in his hip to like disable him. But yeah, that's Jacob. He hard-headed. He got multiple baby mamas, probably about 4 baby mamas, I would say. He had 2 wives, 2 or 3 concubines, and 12 sons, and a daughter. They don't talk about the daughter a lot, but he also had a daughter. At least one daughter that they named. Something tragic happened to her. After Jacob, what's interesting is it said that Jacob fathered Judah and his brothers. Judah is the tribe that Jesus comes from. That's why they call him the Lion of Judah. You know? Yes. Judah fathered Perez and Zerah by Tamar. So now we're going to go into that story.
That's like, okay, so the story of Tamar, I won't say it angers me, but just,
tell me your thoughts,
let's go
you
through the story.
It. Yeah.
Let's go through the story. Okay, so Tamar is Judah's daughter-in-law. She's married to, is it or Er? How do you say it? Er?
She was married to I said Er.
I said too. She was married to First thing, he died because he was wicked.
And it doesn't say why he was wicked. It just says he was
That
wicked.
is it. Okay? That's all we got now. When you learn this Bible, you can go all up, down, and through, and many people are given the opportunity to repent.
Yeah.
Whatever it was
It was too
so
much.
wicked that God was swift and decisive, and you ain't gonna tell the rest.
All
We
it
need
said,
to know.
it said was was evil in the Lord's sight, and he put him to death. I said, what?
That was it.
What happened?
What happened? What is the story? How evil was it? What was it that got that swift decision from God that was like, no, you, God?
And what's crazy is this how you know that God is for all people, not just the Israelites, because even though, those were his chosen people, but Tamar was not an Israelite woman. She was like a Canaanite. They was all marrying foreign women, which they were not supposed to do. But it was interesting that he would kill his own people, basically. Like, you're so evil that I have to get rid of you.
Yes. Okay, so I was already blown right there because we don't have any backstory.
No,
then, back in those times, if a man and a woman were married and they did not have a child and the man died, the woman was to marry the man's brother. And then their child would be seen as taking the initial brother's lineage.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, dies. Judah's like, okay, I got another son. Here's Onan.
Poor Onan.
Poor Onan. Onan said, if I have a baby with this lady, it's not even really going to be my lineage. It's going to be my brother's lineage.
Who was evil? Who was evil?
Then he was like, I'm not going to get her pregnant. He spilled his seed on the floor.
Our game on point.
Full out game on 1,000. But God is mad dead. What?
Disobedience.
So, yes, Onan dies because he's disobedient. This is not seriously what I told you to do. And so that was another thing where I'm like, listen, y'all can keep playing around with all these sins, like you just gonna do it for a while, but when you get older, you gonna straighten up.
Yeah.
We don't know. God is swift.
He was very swift. It's like,
okay.
So basically,
because I was just blown.
As Mo was saying, yes, Tamar, basically, we should feel bad for Tamar because, I guess in this day, women are just getting passed around. Because Tamar is passed through this family swiftly. Yes. Okay. So then Judah's like, okay, I'm not about to give you another one of my kids, right? You done killed 2 of them. Or 2 of them have died while with you. Yeah, how he gonna blame her when God is mad that y'all married? Something don't look right. Judah was uncomfortable. He wasn't right. Which I'm like, me too, Judah. I wouldn't have been comfortable either. Yeah, he probably was like on the side of caution because his third son wasn't even old enough to get married yet. What was the third son? Shayla or something? What was the third son's name? I don't think I have his name. It was kind of like a girly name. We didn't have to even get to him. So Judah was like, no, I'm not giving you my third son. So Tamar's like, okay, bet. She poses as a prostitute and Judah goes and sleeps with her. Judah wakes up the next morning, looks at Tamar and was like, that deserves a goat. That's goat level. That was goat level. This is what cracked me up about it. That was her payment? I will get a goat. It was goat level, okay? Not rabbit. Like, this was some goat level. He's like, all right. Missed the part of why she even went out there to do that to him. It was a plot. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to go sleep with him. She saw the youngest son was of age finally, and yet we not married yet. So what's up? What's going on? She said, okay, I'm going to take off my widow clothes. I got you. Don't worry. I'm going to go cover my face. I'm going to sit where I know you going to be at. And I know you a little horn dog. So it's not going to be hard to do. Right. Exactly. Judah wasn't going to resist the temptation. At all. He's like, I'm going to go home. He didn't even try. He didn't even try. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get my servant and send you a goat. So she's like, wait, how do I know you're actually going to come back? Like, you got to leave something here. It was like, what is it? Cloak, shaft, seal cord, and staff. Seal cord and staff, which is basically like phone, credit card. So he's like, okay, cool. He leaves, she goes and hides, right? I think she just goes back to their camp. I think she just goes back to the camp. She sends the servant back with the goat. The goat is like, the servant is like, ain't nobody here. We know you ain't have no goat level. Like, you tripping. Ain't nobody here. So they're like, okay, boom, life goes on. There's no prostitute who lives here. Right, exactly. This was a dream, sir, but thanks. So months go by. Judah runs into Tamar and she's pregnant. And he's like, she has committed adultery, set her ablaze, set her on fire. And Tamar's like, oh, she said, hold, please. You want to set me on fire?
Sir, y'all want to know who my baby daddy is? Cord, staff, seal.
Yeah, she's like, who these belong to?
Whose are these? These are, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So here's the part that floored me. Judah immediately takes responsibility, is accountable for it, and says, she is more righteous than I. Now I'm reading this as regular me, like, righteous? Is that the word we want to use to describe her?
Yeah, because she was
I can think of a lot of adjectives, but righteous wouldn't have been the one.
I mean, I guess you
In
wouldn't have thought of that
actuality,
act as righteousness, but she was right.
right, exactly. But in actuality, she was the one that was following the Lord's word and what she was supposed to do. So it was like sometimes there was a sentence that I had in here somewhere that it was like sometimes you're just fighting for justice. Sometimes the villain is just trying to make things right by any means necessary.
It was
I'm
any
like,
means because
okay,
she really had
girl.
to devise that little plan. Like, and this is what I also thought about. She knew that he frequented prostitutes because that's how you know to get them.
Yeah,
Like that. Like,
exactly.
so how
So
often,
it wasn't even a
Judah? How
secret.
often were you doing this? Because this happened after. Because I was trying to figure out when I was reading it. I was like, did Judah cheat on his wife? Because wasn't Tamar like Judah's wife's daughter or something like that?
Ooh,
But his wife died, and then that's when all this happened. Because I was trying to figure out, did he cheat on his wife too? But he probably was already cheating on her if he's known to go get the prostitutes. That's another thing that it's like we're in the genealogy and we haven't even got through 3 people and we already got through liars, thieves, prostitutes, and whoremongers. Like we're only in the beginning.
Still leads to Jesus.
We're only in the beginning.
On our way. We're on our way.
We are on our way. But yeah, but Tamar, she ends up having
the babies that she had. The babies she was pregnant with were Perez and Zerah. There we go.
Yes, and she
That's how Judah
Perez
ended up fathering children with Tamar.
Yeah, and can you believe that? And twins at that, twins to boot. Dang, maybe that was go level. They had twins. They were doing their thing, okay? I mean, my goodness.
Stupid.
Yes, his name was Shayla. That's his name. Because I was like, that's kind of a girly name. But Perez is the one that Jesus comes through, not Zerah. Now, what's funny when you go from Perez, after Perez, there were some other names that I don't really recognize that, give me it jumps off the page. After a few, Perez fathered this person, this person, this person, this person, we get to Boaz. Now, somebody named Salmon, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, fathered Boaz by Rahab. Now, we have another little aside story for you. Who is Rahab? Another prostitute, a real prostitute, actually, because Tamar was playing prostitute for a day. Yeah, Rahab was a prostitute for real. Okay. She was a prostitute. You will find her story in Joshua.
Yep.
In Joshua, the Israelites, again, trying to conquer. This is why people think they should just conquer everything now because they read the Bible out of context. They were conquering the Canaanites because they were in the promised land, but they had to go see, let's go send some spies out first to see what they was going to deal with. Spies went in there so they wouldn't get caught. Rahab, who is a Canaanite woman, don't know God at all, follows false gods. She hides them in her house. Even when they come looking for the spies, she's like, I don't know spies. I never see no spies. So sorry. Can't help you. Now, what's funny about this is they don't really give us, I haven't found the story yet of how Rahab ended up. Well, I guess in that story, they take her, before they burn the city down, they take Rahab and her family into the Israelites. So I guess from there, she met her Israelite man, Mr. Salmon, and they had Boaz. Now, if y'all read y'all's Bibles, or you go to church, or you grew up in church, you probably should know or recognize the name Boaz. If you've been to any kind of single women's conference, you probably want your Boaz. On my Boaz. Oh my God. Even though you should be waiting on your Naomi. So where's the Naomi to point out Boaz? You can't have one without the...
My goodness. That's so true.
Yeah, you need your Naomi to talk about a Boaz. Anyway, so that's who Rahab is, right? So who would have known that Rahab was going to give birth to this very righteous man? Now, Boaz was a very good man, as far as we know, as whatever they wrote about him. And he had money. So Rahab married into some money too. Go ahead, Rahab. Rahab came up, baby. And you can read that story in Joshua 6. If listeners are wondering. Now, Rahab's son was Boaz, right? Who ended up with Ruth, who also is not an Israelite. She is a Moabite. Ruth left her people. Ruth was married to, basically, I'll tell y'all this story too. Naomi, let's need to find you a Naomi. Naomi was married, I forgot what her husband's name was, but basically she had some sons, and then her sons married these two Moabite women. Because I forgot, I guess they had left their home. I could be wrong. Y'all could correct me in the comments. But basically, they all died. The husband died, the sons died. It's like hard times. Definitely hard times out there for women in that time, because if you don't have a man at that time, you're almost good as dead. Like, you need a man for protection, for money, for all the things. So when the people die, Ruth's like, I gotta go back to my people. Like, I can't be out here. I gotta go back home. And Ruth is like, Ruth and the other daughter-in-law are there, and Ruth is like, not Ruth, Naomi is like, go back to your people. I'm going this way. Y'all go that way. And the one daughter-in-law goes back. She goes back to Moab. And Ruth is like, nah, I stay with you. I'm going with you. And whoever your God is, also my God. Wow. She's like,
Yeah,
I feel
I
like that's
always thought
right
that
there.
was weird.
Yeah, but that, to me, that shows how easy it is to be saved. Like, boom, I choose. I follow
Yeah.
the Lord now. Like, I don't know. So she goes back with her. Of course, they two women still, y'all got to get to work. So Ruth had to go work, and Naomi was like, hey, my boy Boaz in that field, I need you to go in that field. You need to go pick the wheat in that field. You see where Boaz is? That field. He's going to notice you. And then when he sleep, you got to go in there and lay at his feet. Lay there, right on his feet, and see what he do. Worked out. He married her. Long story short. But they are in the lineage, right? And then Boaz and Ruth have Obed. Obed is actually King David's dad. So he's kind of important. He had a lot of kids though. David was the youngest of, like, I forgot how many. But that's the first genealogy. That's where it ends, pretty much. Oh no, wait, no. Obed is not King David's father. Obed fathered Jesse, and Jesse is King David's father. Sorry, Jesse.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry,
right.
Jesse. Sorry, Jesse. Totally missed you there. Didn't mean to do that. So then we go into the second genealogy. What did I think was important from this?
It starts out with nonsense.
It starts off with nonsense because it calls out David's adultery right there in the first sentence.
Right there.
So we
start.
We have an adulterer in the genealogy. Okay, so what do we got? We down to adulterers now. We had prostitutes, Gentiles, liars. Now we on the adultery and a murderer actually too. Because it says David fathered Solomon by Uriah's wife. So we're like, what do you mean Uriah's wife? Why is not
the
his
only one who doesn't have a name? Everybody else has a name.
Yeah. And Uriah's wife is Bathsheba. I don't know why I didn't want to write her name. She was a beautiful lady. Yeah, but I think what Matthew was doing there was like, we know her name is Bathsheba,
honoring him,
but she was another person's wife at that time.
We need to make it very clear that y'all know what King David was up to.
He was up to no good, and yeah, like you're
okay.
Right. Yeah.
So let's tell the story of Bathsheba. Bathsheba was Uriah's wife. Uriah was in the army, in King David's army.
Yeah.
Uriah goes off to war. Bathsheba is minding her business, taking a bath. King David sees her and is like, bring her to me.
Yes. Which is already creepy. It's given.
Put a word to it.
It's given grape culture. What? Bring her to me. David, what's going on? She didn't ask for this. Where's the consent? There was no consent. That is using your position of power.
So they sleep together. Bathsheba gets pregnant. King David says, snap, I got to try to bring Uriah home from a war so that they can sleep together and make it seem like this is Uriah's baby.
Yeah.
So they call Uriah, and Uriah's like, no, like, bros before hoes, like, I'm not gonna leave the other soldiers here till the job is done. And so King David is like, dang, okay, well, put him on the front line. Kill him.
Yeah. Because he ain't that good of a soldier.
And then he dies. King David and Bathsheba go on to be together. Now, this is one of the stories that I like because there were 3 punishments that David got for doing this.
Right. And people never talk about that part when they talk about the story. He had his lesson, trust me.
Trouble would arise in his family. His wives would be publicly taken from him, and Bathsheba's child that she was currently pregnant with would die.
Yeah. And he fasted. Oh my God, the story is so sad. When the baby got sick, he was fasting and praying for the baby and on the floor with his clothes torn, ashes on his head, fasting. When the baby died, he got up, washed his face, and the servants were like, now you all right? And he was like, like, there's no reason to fast anymore. The baby's dead. It's time to move on with my life. But yeah, I never knew that part. I'm like, I'm like, they got to add that to the sermon.
Well, okay, so the thing about that for me is, and this for me relates to my real life, or like the real world. You can forgive someone. God forgave him, but it didn't keep him from seeing those consequences.
Yeah, you still gotta. It's like when your mom gives you a whooping, she still love you and she forgive you, but you still gotta get this whooping. You still gotta
I
get
feel
those
like
10 licks.
life is just not like that. People are like, well, if you forgive me, then everything should be fine. Everything is fine, but we are creating distance, or like there is still some sort of consequence. Everything doesn't just go back to the way it was. That's like, I
And
feel like
there's
people
still
think
grace
that's
in
like,
that. Like, yeah, the baby died, but I could have killed you too. We seen how quick God could kill somebody.
exactly.
He could have Bathsheba. He could have took he could have took anybody. If he took Bathsheba, we wouldn't even have Solomon. Or maybe we would have, but not by Bathsheba. It wouldn't have been the same. Let me tell you some again about David. He did that with Bathsheba. He had other wives already. Bathsheba was not his first wife. He had plenty wives. Lots of wives. He was collecting them.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Forgiveness. That was forgiveness for me. I just think everybody needs to reconsider the definition of forgiveness.
No, yeah.
This was a clear, like, you can forgive and still receive your consequences.
That's really how it should be, because that's how you learn. I didn't see David doing that again. We might not even got the Psalms like that if he ain't have to learn a few lessons. Because, baby, he was crying out to God a lot throughout them Psalms. Who's next? Oh, Solomon. We talk about Solomon, his son. Solomon is renowned as one of the wisest men to ever live.
Yes.
But he was not so wise when he went against God's word and I think he had like over 1,000 wives and concubines. It's like a crazy number. It's literally that high. I think it's like 700 wives and like I don't know how many concubines. Yeah, see if you can give me a real time number. Yeah, I feel like I have it written, or maybe I have it in that Old Testament workbook. But he had a lot of wives, and they were his downfall. Actually, when Solomon started marrying all those foreign wives, that's when the kingdom fell.
Yeah.
Did you find the answer?
Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. 1 Kings 11:3.
Where did he put them all? Where
The
did they
Bible
go?
notes that these relationships ultimately led him away from fully following God, as many of his wives brought foreign influences and encouraged him to worship other gods.
Yes, and that's why God didn't want them marrying foreign women, because he's like, God, I feel like God knows, like, whatever your woman doing, you gonna end up doing. She worshiping Baal, you go do it too. Like, and that was always the thing. And he had so many influences. 700 wives. And why do you need 300 concubines on top of the wives?
On top.
Doing quite a lot. After that, in the genealogy, we also have Asa and Manasseh. I don't have a story about them per se, because I can't remember right now, but I know that they were two of the most horrible kings in Israel's history, like evil. I want to say one of them, and I could be wrong, but I want to say one of them was married to Jezebel. One of these. I could be wrong though. But she was married to one of them people.
I looked up really quick because you were like, why would you need all of that? And I was like, why did he need all of them? Okay. It wasn't just about romance. It was heavily tied to political alliances, power, and status. In ancient times, kings often married women from other royal families to secure peace treaties, expand their influence, and strengthen diplomatic ties. By marrying the daughter of a powerful ruler, he ensured alliances that helped stabilize his kingdom and expand Israel's influence.
I understand that, but 700 times is crazy. Israel was not hurting at the time. The temple was literally like built out of gold and jewels and diamonds.
Yeah.
And like everything was gold plated. Like, come on, bro. Like a few alliances I could see, 5, 10. You did it 700 times. There's not enough. There's too many alliances. You can't even uphold all those alliances. You contradicting yourself with other people at this point.
Right.
How can you what? Like, no, bro. He was just lost in the sauce. But you know what? If he wasn't lost in the sauce, things always have what we need him for, right? I feel like after he got himself back together, that's how we got Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, which we need. Because that's what he's like in Proverbs, he's telling his son, like, hey, don't follow the wayward woman. Don't follow the lustful woman. Because he already been through it and he know I was wilding, doing the most. Yeah. And that was not correct. You always gotta, I guess,
We need more Solomons.
Yeah,
The
please,
inside, the
teachers.
end part, where you
The
tell your
part where
child not
you,
to do what you
the
did. That part.
please don't,
I said it, and then I
please.
was like, no.
Yeah, and then in the second genealogy, you have our honorable mention. I don't have a story about them, but Hezekiah was a good king. So was Josiah, was a great king. I love that name, Josiah. I actually wanted to name him. So from there, we go into the third genealogy, which is from the exile to Christ. This is what I wanted to talk about. Ooh, I have like a little nugget for you guys. There's a problem in the genealogy. Not a problem, but it has to be discussed. I got this from Tony Evans, a commentary. Okay. So it's like problem in the genealogy because I was like, what do you mean? So in the third part, there is a guy named, it says, after the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah fathered Shealtiel.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, they're like, okay, well, what's the problem there? Right? Because from this third part of the genealogy, this goes to Joseph, right? But we know Joseph is not the biological father of Jesus. God is. So it's like, okay, so but how does Joseph fit in here? Why is he the chosen father? Because he is legally his father. Let's follow me. Okay, so Jeconiah, he is also in the Bible, other parts of the Bible in the Old Testament called Jehoshaphat or Coniah. In Second Chronicles, I believe he's called Jehoshaphat, and then in Jeremiah, he's called Coniah, right? But when we say there's a problem, it's like in Second Chronicles and in Jeremiah, God, this guy Jehoshaphat, Jeconiah, whatever we want to call him, his AKAs, he was an evil person. Whatever he did was so evil. And y'all can go back to Second Chronicles and read what he did. God told him, you will never have kids. Ever. You will never, none will come from you. Nothing. Your line has ended. Okay? It's done.
Interesting though, because he didn't kill him. He just said he wouldn't procreate.
He killed his line. Well, at least biologically, not legally. Because I'm thinking he must have started to adopt, or maybe he did what the other people were supposed to do, like use his brother or, or something like that, or a servant, but it was like, this my kids. So in Second Chronicles 36, 8-9, it says, the rest of the deeds of Jehoiakim, the detestable actions he committed, and what was found against him are written in the book of Israel's kings. His son Jehoiachin, which is the guy we're talking about, became king in his place. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight. It doesn't say what he did. In Jeremiah 22:24-30, it says, the Lord named Coniah childless, and that none of his descendants would sit on the throne of David or rule Judah. So it's like, how can he be in the lineage if he ain't supposed to have no kids? Yeah, so I wrote in my notes, I was like, how did he father anyone then? Like, how did we get to where we're at? And it says there's no explanation. I was like, maybe he adopted them, or maybe he used, like almost like you said earlier with the brother, like your brother has your baby for you, but it's in your lineage. Maybe he maybe he didn't have a brother, but maybe he used servants, like basically like a surrogate but for men. I don't know. There's no explanation. This is just what Tony Evans is talking about.
I just looked this up, and it says exactly Jeremiah 22:30. God declares him childless. It doesn't mean that he had no biblical children. In fact, in First Chronicles, his sons are listed, including Shealtiel. Instead, the childless reference is symbolic, meaning that none of his descendants would reign as king.
Okay, I got you.
He had children, but they wouldn't continue the royal line in the traditional sense. No descendant would sit on King David's throne in Judah.
I gotcha. Well, I was about to say, what did I write about?
However, God still honored his covenant with David through a different path. Jesus, the Messiah, came from Jeconiah's bloodline, fulfilling God's promise in a spiritual and eternal way, rather than through a physical throne in Jerusalem.
I could have learned in real time. Because I was like, what? Because that would, if you really had been reading, like, well, how? See, this is why it's good to study in context, y'all, because what does childish really mean? Because it's like, well, he got kids. Right. And it's like, well, did God tell him that after he had already had some kids and then now it's over? Like, it's good to have questions. Good to have questions. Don't be afraid. Hey, we just learned something right here in real time. Right. Like, what? And we probably need to tell Tony Evans too. Like, hey, there's another theory, because it's like,
my goodness.
Because it's like at the end of the day, all this is like studying and really in context, but it's like we weren't there. None of us were there. We're doing our best, with what we got. I love that. Okay. But yeah, so then that brings, what's his face? Joseph. Joseph is in that line. That is why it's like legally he is the father. He's still in that line. But biologically, he is not the father of Jesus.
That just explained it. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then I also saw this thing at the end side of my notes. Actually, it's just a little quick aside. It says all the generations from Abraham to David were 14 generations, and from David until exile was 14 generations, and from the exile to Babylon or to the Messiah is 14 generations. And 14, I wonder what that. I wonder why. Is that important, or is just like, or is that just like not even real? It's just like I'm just gonna write that because it sounds cool. I mean, I will say in the Bible, I always see like multiples of 3 and 7. So I don't know.
Let's see what it says. This intentional pattern wasn't random. It carried deep symbolic meaning for the Jewish audience. Numerical symbolism in Hebrew. You know this?
No, I'm just saying that's kind of what I just said. I'm like, if you read the Bible, it's always like there's a lot of numbers that mean things to God.
Numbers, the letters have numerical value. The name David, written in Hebrew, equals 14 when the letters are added up. By structuring the genealogy in sets of 14, Matthew emphasized Jesus' connection to David, reinforcing that Jesus is the promised messianic king from David's royal line.
Okay. Matthew is very strategic. I actually love that about him. I could tell he had a very analytical mind because it's giving like, I'm not going to put everybody, like I'm going to put the most important people that's in these generations, and I'm going to show like I really thought about this. Like I'm going to show 14 each one so y'all can understand. That is
crazy.
Because like I said last episode, his audience is mainly Jewish. Because to Gentiles, that means nothing. Who cares? I mean, to us, we're like, oh, I wonder what that means. Like, obviously, that's important because you wrote it. But for the Jewish people, they understood that right away. That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yes, I like that.
2 things. Brand new, live.
Yeah, live in action. And that's how I want it to be, actually. But yeah, that's the genealogies. Next, we are doing, in my Bible, it says the Nativity of Christ. Or is it? Is that what it said? Is that what it's called? Yeah, it said the Nativity of the Messiah. What does nativity mean? I don't think I've ever looked at that. I always know what a nativity scene is when I see it. It's like, but what does nativity actually mean?
I'm gonna guess something with like birth and origination. Oh, maybe. I'm right. The word nativity comes from the Latin word nativitas, meaning birth. In Christian tradition, the nativity often or specifically refers to the birth of Jesus Christ. Nice. Because I am actually a genius.
You are a genius. Look at that Baylor education going to work. Oh, okay, yeah. At the end of the CG.
Latin.
I did too, but I couldn't tell you nothing. That I took Latin and Greek, and I couldn't tell you a thing of what I learned. But I got my credit, and I graduated. Couldn't tell you. But I actually love this part of the chapter because it's just, I always wonder what I would have done, like if I was Joseph. So it starts off that Mary and Joseph are engaged. Back in this day, an engagement is like, it's more than our kind of engagement. Like they're basically married. Like it's like you have to legally get engaged before you legally get married. So during this time, during their engagement, Joseph discovers that Mary is pregnant. But this is a worry to him because he has not touched this woman. Because back then, they really followed, well, I ain't gonna say everybody followed the rules, but they really tried to follow the rules. Like, and Joseph was a righteous man, right? So he discovers that she's pregnant. He's like, that's not for me, So he's like, I'm gonna divorce her in secret because I don't want to embarrass her. Right. I don't want people to come for her. I'm thinking, honestly, she probably could have gotten killed, if I'm being completely honest. Okay. I mean, think about what they were about to do to Tamar when they found out she was pregnant. They will stone you. Or like the story of the woman who was caught committing adultery when Jesus was a grown adult. They were going to stone that lady in the street. So I think something bad could have happened to Mary. So I think he was trying to keep it quiet. He didn't want to embarrass her, disgrace her. And he probably actually really loved her, maybe. I mean, who knows? Maybe he really like loved her, but he was like, I just can't. My principles won't allow me to be with you if you out here cheating on me, essentially. So, what I was going to say, he's going to go divorce her. An angel of the Lord appears to him in a dream. Sometimes in movies and stuff, he just appears to him like in the air, like while he's awake, but he was sleeping. So keep that in mind. Because I think in my mind, I always thought like he appeared and Joseph was like, what's going on? It's in the dream. He informs him that he does not need to divorce Mary because Mary is impregnated by the Holy Spirit. And I'm sure Joseph was like, what? What you mean? Wow. How? And he commands him to name him Jesus because he will save the people from their sins. I have a quick fact. Jesus is the Greek version. Do you know that Jesus' real name is Joshua?
I knew that.
Is, well, people who are like in that kind of Israelite movement, I don't know if they're Mythos type people, or people who are like, I don't know what movement it is, but they call Jesus Yeshua and they like refuse to call him anything else. Okay, that's Hebrew. Yeshua, Joshua, that's Hebrew, right? So,
okay.
Joshua is the Hebrew, and then when all this was translated into the Greek, his name is Jesus now. Jesus is the Greek version. So the Greek people was calling Joshua Jesus because that's how it's pronounced in their language.
I never knew that.
Yes, because Joshua and Jesus, they mean the Lord saves. Actually, if you do, the workbooks that we have, the Old Testament, if you do the Joshua one, it kind of has, it'll tell you like, basically like Joshua is like a type of, he's like a, what's it called? A Christ type? No, it's not called a Christ type. It's an archetype of Christ, but that's going real deep.
Very deep.
I'm sorry, guys.
Very deep indeed.
You should look up archetypes of Christ. It's a lot of them. Anyway, but he commands him to name him Jesus. But I thought this was funny because, and I discovered this the other day while I was reading, right? And actually, no, I'm going to skip and then go back. Doesn't he say something about Emmanuel? Oh, wait.
Isaiah 7:14.
Is that where
the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, God with us.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Matthew, he puts a prophecy in there again, right? He's like, fulfills a prophecy. And I was like, okay, but in Isaiah, it says to call him Emmanuel, God, which means God with us, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I always wonder why the prophecy calls him Emmanuel, but then God's like, name him Jesus. But when I thought about it, I was like, the prophecy is like, they will call him Emmanuel, right? Not necessarily they will call him that exact name, but they will recognize that he is God on earth. I was like, okay, because I was confused. I was like, well, why is his name Jesus and not Emmanuel? Like, why are we doing that?
See, that's why I like that we're doing this, because that's something I would have thought by myself and then just be like, somebody was lying. Like, yeah. I got to figure out where somebody lied.
No, that's how I was. I was like, how is this prophecy really related if it's not saying they will call him Jesus? Because that would be a I gotcha moment. Look, It says it right there. I'm thinking, well, Emmanuel means God with us, and he is literally God with us. And people will call him that, but his name is Jesus. Like, wow, okay, I like that. So that was just my recent discovery that I thought I'd share. Oh, and then my other thought was, I was like, why did Joseph not have sex with her? Like, because they end up getting married, right? He discovers, she's like, oh, okay, she's pregnant by the Holy Spirit. Let's go ahead and get married. And I felt like there was never a command to not have sex with her. It just says that he did not have sex with her until after. I thought the angel told him not to. If you really see the reading, all it said was, Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because what has been conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Now all this took place to fulfill what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet. See, the virgin will become pregnant and give birth to a son, and they will name him Emmanuel, which is translated God is with us. When Joseph woke up, he did as the Lord's angel had commanded him. He married her, but did not have sexual relations with her until she gave birth to a son, and he named him Jesus. So it wasn't part of the command. Okay, so I took it as he did what the angel of the Lord commanded him was all of the rest of what was said. Okay. Yeah. And it could have been, but I thought about it and I said, well, how can he have sex with her if when Jesus, he has to be born to a virgin. So she has to remain a virgin until after the birth. So to me, I was like, that's why. I was like, why can't they have sex with her? He's married. And I thought it was just out of respect to God. But nah, it's to fulfill the prophecy. The prophecy says the virgin will become pregnant and give birth. The virgin has to do both those things. So if Joseph has sex with her, the prophecy is null and void. Yeah, another discovery. I was like, he did not put that command in there. I literally never. Yeah, that's very valid. Okay. Yeah, I was like, that command is not in there. But I mean, I probably wouldn't have either. I would have been like, I probably would have scared to touch her, in all honesty. Like, what? No. You gotta watch that movie. Thing. Like, a lot of men already don't. Yeah, they don't even want to. Yeah, they're scared to hurt the baby. Feel some type of way. Yeah, if their wife is pregnant or whatever. Yeah, so being pregnant by God is like another level. I'm good. Yeah, like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm scared. He's smiting people for less. They read those Old Testament stories. They know. They read those scrolls. They knew God just not. No smoke. I'm good. You gotta watch that movie whenever you have time. That Mary movie on Netflix. It's not biblically accurate. Oh, yeah. It's not. Well, Yeah, it's not biblically accurate, but it's like how y'all gonna tell us what really happened in real life? Like not everything.
And what is it, The Chosen or The Chosen One?
It's called The Chosen. The Chosen is about, you would think it's about Jesus. It is, but it's really about his disciples and how he chose them. It's really good. And it shows how he had women disciples as well. Cause a lot of people like to leave that out, that he had female disciples. Mary Magdalene was one of his disciples. That's why she was always around. Yeah. I mean, that's not in the Bible either, but yeah, I learned too. Okay, so yeah, that's all for our reading this week. So our next segment is, what are you praying for this week?
Ooh, this week I am praying for, I guess, just energy. One, daylight savings time.
Don't even get me started. I could go on a rant because I almost canceled this recording today. Let's just next week because I'm tired and I only have 3 hours of sleep.
Daylight savings time is just tearing me up. And then we just have a bunch of like just life, school things, church things all happening this week. So I have a busy week. I'm already tired and I still have to find time to work out. Like I can't just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Something's gotta give.
I understand. Honestly, as a mom, I will say this, to get all of it done in a day, because I usually try to go work out like what time is it? Maybe like right now would be my workout time on a Monday. I try to work out like after I drop off Omari at school, but I will say the cheat code to mom life, you gotta do that 5 o'clock workout, 5 a.m. But it's so hard. It's hard. I've only done it for like 2 weeks before, but those 2 weeks, when I tell you I got everything done, and when I got home at 6, I didn't have to do nothing else because I've already been up. But you're in bed early because you're so sleepy. But you have to get it done before anybody wakes up.
I do not like for my sleep to be interrupted.
No, me neither. Which is why I'm like a 9
a.m.
a.m. workout girl.
But I will say, so what I was doing for a while is after school, because we have a bunch of stuff in the garage, like to work out. So after school, while the kids are doing like their reading and writing, I'm like in the garage trying to get stuff in. And I'm like checking their work and going back out. So that gives me like an hour and a half.
Okay, boy, that's good. You got a little gym at the house. That's all you got to do. You just have to do it consistently. Home workout get you right. I'll start sending you. I have a whole Instagram saved thing of of workouts with just free weights. Yeah. I will send you some. Cause I did that a lot last year. Cause when I was really trying to lose weight, I'm like, I can't let just the gym, like, I can't make it to the gym today. Okay, get in that living room and pull them weights up. Do what you gotta do. Cause baby, do you want the flat stomach or not? Do you want the lifted booty or not?
I know, and I want.
Do you want to see your collarbones or not? That was my motivation. I want to see my collarbones again, and I didn't stop till I saw. I told this trainer lady that at the gym. She was like, "What?" I said, "That's what I wanted to see," and she said, "Well, whatever the motivation works." I said, "Yep, that's what I needed. I needed to at least feel them. They were gone. They were literally gone. There was nothing. It was flat, and I was like, "Are you there?"
I'm like, now you got me checking for my collarbones.
You know how Kelly Rowland looks, her collarbones? That's what I really want in real life.
I don't think that I can do that. I just don't.
I mean, I think hers are just more pronounced because some people's are just more pronounced.
But yeah, I'm like, God just didn't make that.
The way she just looks so, but not, just she looks like she lifts weights, but not butch. That's how I want to look. I want to look like, dang, she got some nice arms. That's my goal. So what am I praying for this week?
I'm like, what are you praying for?
I'm probably praying for energy as well. Honestly, because this week we're having a busy week at work. We're having a big sale. With big sales, when you're in sales, you got budgets, and I think I have to sell like 11,000 just for this particular sale. So that's gonna be busy. Then also, yeah, probably just energy, and then I'm still praying to find Omari's new speech therapist.
It didn't work out.
Well, they haven't emailed me back yet, so I'm probably gonna follow up with them today. But it's been so busy that it's like, when am I gonna follow up with people? But I would say, yeah, move some energy too. Especially today, I got so much to do. Gotta do my hair. Gotta work. It's just like it doesn't stop. It doesn't. Like, that's why I look at you. I'm like, how do you do all that? Because you have you have like a whole family, and I'm like, they depend on you. Wow, we need a vacation. That's what we should pray for too, a vacation.
Amen to that.
Yeah, we need a little getaway. I still want to do I was supposed to do a staycation a long time ago, like just in Houston, stay the weekend at like a nice hotel and like leave everybody behind and like literally like go to the spot and lay in the bed in the hotel and watch Netflix. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I should do that for my birthday. I'm going to ask my mom if she want to.
That's what I try to do on my work trips. I'm like, because I'll walk into a hotel excuse me, and put on Bluey and be like, wait.
No, absolutely not.
I'm tripping. I can watch what I want.
Yeah. No Bluey. I don't
Yeah.
even want to hear that intro when I'm away from home. I don't want to hear it. Go away. I watch anything else.
So,
If
yeah.
I'm not with Omar, we ain't watching no Bluey, no Cars, no Simple
It's just
Songs.
so like, it's a reflex. Like, oh, the TV's on.
I already
All right,
know.
let me just put on something in the background.
I already know. But yeah, I think I might try to do my little staycation. Maybe I'll see if I got some points to make it cheap or free. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What we're reading next week, I won't lie this time, it's going to be Matthew 2. We're just going to do Matthew 2, and that's it. We're really excited to do Matthew 3. I've already done my notes on it, but I'm so excited for that because it's love John the Baptist. I really do. I feel like if he was alive right now, he would be like my friend or my pastor. No. Okay. What I should be praying for, my continuous prayer, and y'all can pray for me about this too, is to find a church home. I do not have a church home right now. It has been a while.
You just don't like where you've been?
The church I left, the pastor cheated on his wife. And then when I stayed, the other pastor that replaced him, he was always just preaching sermons about like God's vision for your life. And I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm looking for a church that teaches about Jesus and not me. Who cares about me? It's not about me. Send her some recommendations. Yeah, that is a hard pill to swallow for Christians sometimes. It's not about you, unfortunately. Being a Christian is all about Jesus. My mom hasn't really been going either. We grew up, we used to go to church in Missouri City. Really, COVID threw everybody off. Honestly, my mom stopped going to church after COVID. My dad used to sing in the choir and everything. And, they're older though. So after COVID, they really stopped going. They haven't gone back. Then sometimes she'll go up to my sister's church and I'll go with them sometimes to that. And that's fine too. It's not as diverse as I would like. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but I would like a diverse church with a pastor who teaches the Bible in context and does not have an ulterior motive and not sleeping with the congregants, something like that. And also not a cult, because I've also run into some of those and it's just tough. I may have to tell a story one day about how I almost got recruited into a cult. It may be like a little bonus episode for you guys.
Actually, let me make a note. Ask Christina about the cult. You gotta go.
Oh yeah, what time is it? Oh yeah, okay. All right, guys. Well, we love that you tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, leave a review, double tap, whatever is going to run the numbers up, do that. And we will see you guys next week. All Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Word with Wiggy. We love learning with you. The Word with Wiggy is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you consume podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Don't forget to like and comment on YouTube and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. See you next week, and don't forget to read your Bible.